time-space. The soul name of this entity is closer to Jinring in your language terms. This entity spent a large portion of its first density lifetime in the form of fire. During this lifetime, it learned the lessons primarily that of beingness and learned what it felt like to just be. After it had sufficiently spent its time on this level, this entity then started to evolve and reached the second density consciousness, wherein it learned the lessons of that of experience, similar to your trees in your planets. After the mid-second density, this entity evolved into the later second density that resemble the animals, similar to that of so-called cats on your planets. However, this occurred on the same star system that it had originated in. This entity then, after a period of 45,000 years and many incarnations on the level of later second density, entered into the third density consciousness equivalent to your time-space. It then started to experience reality of that of this density also. After approximately 5 incarnations in the third density on the same star system, this soul, having reached the required density level of third density, was then transferred to Earth's humanity complex in order to access the window of soul graduation that is opening to directly ascend into the fourth density consciousness. This entity had 3 lifetimes on Earth in the form of physical vehicles of human, mind, body and spirit complex. In the first lifetime on Earth, this entity was born as Stephen Varghese into a man-body complex, born on the 1st of June 1842 and died on the 7th of July 1913, whose main purpose in this incarnation was to learn the lessons of interaction with other third density elements in your planet, since this was the first lifetime for this entity. In this lifetime, this entity spent its life as a so-called farmer and spent most of its time interacting with other third density and second density elements at your time space. In this lifetime, this entity was able to learn the lessons of interaction with other elements successfully. This entity died on 1913 after being bitten by a so-called poisonous snake, after which this entity reincarnated as a woman body complex and was given the vibratory sound distortions as Yvette Ayala, born on the 1st of November 1914 and died on the 2nd of July 1971. This lifetime was meant for this entity to learn the lessons of forgiveness of self. In addition, it was able to learn these basic distortion, teach-learn of forgiveness of self in this lifetime. This entity during this lifetime worked as a so-called teacher on the time-space and was able to forgive a certain entity who had forsaken it in terms of love. This entity worked as a so-called teacher during this time-space. Moreover, this entity died on 1971 after being hit by a so-called physical vehicle, after which this entity reincarnated into the current timeline of your time-space on 1972. The primary purpose of this lifetime for this entity is to forgive others using its free will, whether it wants to enter the positive or negative polarity and into the higher density of consciousness. In service to others lies the greatest secret of life and ascension. This entity will be presented with several scenarios in which it will be given the opportunity to forgive other selves and itself. If it is successful in doing this, then it will be able to ascend into higher levels of consciousness. We are always guiding it through this density of its experience. Therefore, go forth and rejoice in the love lights of the One Creator, Adonai.